Hey, Terrell Collins. The mere mention of comedian Dave Attell's name, and instantly fans of comedy start slamming out those little laughs. You know, the really deep ones that tend to serve as Comedy Central confessions. Yeah, I stayed up late. I busted a gut. Damn straight. I'm an official Dave Attell Insomniac. He was born in Queens and knows how to work the machine without having to be compared or set into a cup full of funny people whose only vow in life is to become the next big television celebrity.
You're on with Dave Attell.
Dave Attell is about to tell the truth behind what drives him back to the stage night after night. This week, the Comedy Zone presents Comedy Central's Insomniac, Dave Attell.
All bald men grow a little beard because they think it'll make them look tough. I look like a marine biologist.
Comedy Zone is located at the NC Music Factory. Buy tickets online, cltcomedyzone.com. Dude, you're always busy. Do you ever just take time off and get off the road?
I never really get off the road, but now I'm doing it hardcore, and I love doing clubs, you know. I think that's what I do best, so yeah, I'm excited.
Thanks to Comedy Central, you've been in a lot of living rooms. Do you miss television?
I don't really miss TV as long as it's something that is fun and cool to do. That's when I miss it, I guess. When it's something, like I did the Dave Attell porn show, and that's kind of like what I promote when I'm not promoting my stand-up gigs. DaveAttellPorn.com is the site. Sorry, there's a siren going by. I mean, for me, Arrow. So DaveAttellPorn.com and Attell Porn is the Twitter. So.
And that's how the interview went for about 3 minutes. We'd get started again, and another cop would go by. But you know what? What do you expect? It's New York City.
Here we go. Now we're up.
They got him. Dude, the moment you got on TV with Insomniacs, I think you created your own army. Do you believe that?
Yeah, I guess that's what that's my biggest credit. Yeah, it seems to be like a touchstone show for a lot of college kids and people who've grown up in the early 2000s.
You're talking about college kids and things. Does that mean you get into social media?
Oh, no, I'm not into it at all. I do the bare minimum of posting dates and tweeting and all that stuff. It's not my thing. I'm too old. I find the internet and the web a little scary. You know, I'm pretty accessible to my fans, so when they see me at a club, you know, I usually hang out, get pictures, whatever. So, I really don't understand this whole tweeting all the time, but I can see why people are into it. It's just not for me.
Do you think a comedy club is the last great place for freedom of speech?
It should be, but it isn't. But you're right. It probably is the last place where people will say politically incorrect things and really, in front of a group of people, you know, say things that are just out there. Because the crowds really are very politically correct, and some of the club owners and networks get frightened by a joke, ridiculous. Someone will complain, or like, some guy will say something on the air or tweet something, and then he'll lose like his endorsement. You know, comedy should never be judged like that. It should really just be judged whether it's funny or not. And there really is no, I don't think anything I say has any kind of, weight or merit to it. It's just, jokes, and if there is something to that, that's a bonus. But it really is just for, the sake of humor. But the more politically correct we get, the more comics, at least good ones, want to push that to see how far you can go with it. And you see a lot of that in the club scene, where people are telling jokes that they know are inappropriate or a little too edgy or blue, and the crowds, either they're with them or they're not. And I have to say that my crowds are usually really, really good crowds. They drink hard and they laugh hard, and they get it, that it's just really just humor. It shouldn't be taken in any other context than just in the club setting.
Why is it that we see you more on stage and not on TV?
I'm not an actor. I'm not a scripted guy, like a sitcom guy. So those are the shows that I really kind of like. I guess they're my strength shows, I like to work with the crowd, keep it loose, and see what comes up.
I keep waiting for you to be the next Little Steven, to show up in some mafia TV show.
Every comic is waiting for that part. Every comic is waiting for the action. The sidekick to an action hero or something. But yeah, no, I've been doing this for over 26 years. It's like, anything that comes along outside of comedy, is cool, but it's really about the comedy. And, it really is like, a gift to be able to get to make up what you want to say and say it in front of a group of people and get paid for it. And, I don't take that lightly. I really do feel like, I'm really lucky in a business of people like actors and directors and writers, where they're always waiting around for the next gig. I know where my next gig is. I can work the road, and I don't take it for granted.
Do you find yourself still editing jokes 10, 15 years old?
No, what I try and do is, and that's a really good question, is that after I put out a CD or a DVD with jokes on it, I try not to do those jokes anymore. And people will call them, like, off of some of the CD or DVD and go, like, do this joke, do that kind of joke. And, like, sometimes I'll do it, but most of the time I'm always up there trying to think of new material, It's like the jokes that I want to say, and then, like I said, we're working with the crowd. If I can come up with a new bit, like, that's the most fun about doing it. Like, after all these years, I apologize for all the street traffic, but that's the most fun of it. That's the funnest part, of doing it live, is that, something might happen and you have a great comeback on it, or, just something hits me in the moment and I, get a bit out of it. Then I'm like, this is great, There's no better feeling than that. Radio and comedy share one thing in common. That is, there's a lot of people that think they can do it. What about those people that are going online and stealing your jokes? I always like to think, because that happened a lot, which is just like, you do a joke and then another guy's kind of doing it, or, there's always these fights about that. And, like, there's really nothing you can do about it. So my whole thing is, like, I should be working on the next joke. And that's really how I kind of play it. What does suck is when you do a joke and then you see it, like, in a movie, or you see it, like, animated in a cartoon or something like that, and then you're like, this is different. This is outside of the comedy club world. This is like some guy just basically kind of was fishing for jokes, and he just pulled it out and rewrote it into a movie. That hurts a little bit more, because you like to think that, like, what you do is just as valid as a movie, and then you realize it's not. All right, now let's move the clock up. What's going to happen out there that's going to say, okay, that's it, we're done? I've seen a lot of guys who kind of, there's people look at Joe Rivers and Don Rickles and they go, like, yeah, well, I'm going to do that. I'm like, do you know how many hundreds of other comics where they just fell away on the wayside? It's like, they're unique, they're special, they've, like, earned it, and it's just resilient to be able to, like, take the highs and lows of, I guess you could say, this business, because, there's a lot of great times, and there's also a lot of depressing, sad, lonely times, and it's really like, we always forget those times, but there's more of those times than there are the great times. So, I'm cool with it, because I don't expect more out of this thing than being able to have a place to perform and people to perform in front of. As long as I'm still bringing new material to the stage, and, like, the people are digging it, then I guess I'm still relevant. There you go. Dave Attell, unplugged and totally uncut. Oh, yeah, I love it. He's on stage this weekend at the Comedy Zone in Charlotte. CLTComedyZone.com. Whoa, you're on the computer right now. Your hands are busy. CLTComedyZone.com. All right, it was my pleasure, man, and I hope to see you at the gig.